Hey there, storytellers! Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a very quick 5x5. If you're new to my channel, a 5x5 is basically 5 things I really liked about a book and 5 things I didn't like about it. And today's victim is Queen of Volts by Amanda Foody. Queen of Volts is the final book in the Shadow Games trilogy, and it follows Anne and Levi on the epic conclusion to their journey in the city of New Rains. Not everything is hunky-dory at the end, and I think it suits the story really well, but it also was a little close to home, a little too real. Suffice it to say that in this last installment, Anne and Levi are facing down their biggest and baddest opponents yet in the City of Sin, and they do their best to beat the game. But without any further ado, let's just get right into the likes. Starting things off with number 1, I really liked the reveal of Anne's father. So in the beginning, the very start of the story, Ace of Shades, Anne goes to New Rains to find her missing mother, who is her adoptive mother. But while she is in the City of Sin, she begins to uncover her own family lineage, and in this third installment we get to find out who her father is. There's hints along the way, but it's still so cool to get that confirmation, and the character is very, very interesting, and I do wish we got a little bit more of him, but I was really satisfied with what we did get, and it felt very right to Anne's character and the story overall. Number 2, I really enjoyed the strain and the growth in Levi and Anne's relationship. I think their relationship goes through very human ups and downs. I think the way they handle a lot of those moments is very human and very well written, but also the way they get over those straining moments is also really well done. It very easily could have become contrived, and I didn't feel that way at all. I forgot to say number 3. So number 3, I do really enjoy the big baddie. Without giving away too much, because our biggest bad, I should say, is revealed at the end of King of Fools. They are such a cool character. I don't want to gender this character because it will reveal it, but the character has become so one track in their mind and so focused on this one sort of purifying goal that they have that they justify any kind of bad action they might take in order to achieve that ultimate end. And it's such an interesting, but has ultimately reached that sort of beyond human status in their mentality, and it's just so cool. Number 4, my 4th like, is that the game is always bigger than you think it is. Amanda Foody writes layers upon layers upon layers of chess game that goes on in this book. You think the characters are battling each other, you think they're fighting the same big bad, but they're fighting an even bigger bad that they don't even know about. Like I said, layers, layers, layers of crazy plots literally woven throughout the book. All kinds of sinfully good things woven throughout the story, and it's all done so well, and I actually think it's wrapped up pretty well for a story that has that many layers. My 5th like for Queen of Volts is Harvey Gabbiano's character arc. Harvey is a character you do meet in Ace of Shades, and he becomes more and more of a prominent figure as the series goes on. Harvey is one I didn't have any huge feelings for in the first 2 books. I feel like in Queen of Volts, we get a ton of information on his backstory and his sort of moral compass and how he works as a person. I think his moral bearings are really interesting, and the course he goes on in this last book to sort of become who he truly is and who he's meant to be is a really well done arc. Moving on to the dislikes, I will say I was reaching for some because I did really enjoy this novel, and I felt like it was a great close to a series. So anyway, kicking things off with number 1, the timing of certain reveals. There's a lot of characters and big moments that happen in this last novel because it's wrapping everything up, and some of them happened too close to the end, so they had to be sort of gone through quickly. You get the reveal and you get a quick emotional sort of moment to react, but then it has to keep going because you're building up towards that ending and there's just not time. And that bothered me just a little bit. I know it has to be done. It happens in all books, but there were some characters and moments that I wanted to see more of. I wanted to see how they panned out long term. And the last one is narrated by Shiromi Arcerio. Speaking of reaching, number 2 is a huge reach, but I listened to this series on audiobook and I thought it was really well done. The first 2 are narrated by Saskia Marleveld, and the last one is narrated by Shiromi Arcerio. Like I said, it's a small thing, but the change in narrator, even though Shiromi did a very good job, threw me off initially to the point where I kind of had to stop reading around the midway section because I had been rolling from Ace of Shades into King of Fools, same narrator. It makes it very easy for me to binge, and the change in narrator just sort of threw off the rhythm of the story for me, so I had to take a step away from it before I could dive back in to Shiromi's rhythm and enjoy the story the way her voice carries it. Like I said, small, minute detail, but something to be aware of if you do plan to listen to them on the audiobooks. Number 3, queer baiting, but kind of not. One character, Bryce Balfour, sort of queer baits his friend into doing things for him. He manipulates past feelings they had for each other that were real at the time and his friend believes have passed, but they haven't, as is later revealed. It's a whole moment or 2, I guess, 2 moments, and the actual sort of queer baiting moment where Bryce is manipulating his friend is just really inky and gross. It's not a good moment, and it's not supposed to be. Bryce is supposed to be, it's very clear that he's supposed to be manipulating his friend. He's not doing it out of like affection in that moment. So on the one hand, it's well done because it's meant to make you off-put by Bryce. You're meant to not like him in that moment especially, but I didn't like it. Number 4, I briefly mentioned this describing the book synopsis in the beginning. That Anne and her friends didn't all get the endings that I felt they deserved. I'm a romantic at heart, guilty as charged. The ending was a little too real. Everybody sort of has to make peace and not get that totally perfect happy ending. Some things they dreamed about couldn't come to be, and I wanted that for them because I love these characters so much. And last but not least, my 5th dislike is probably the biggest reach of all, but I just dislike that the story ended. I really loved this series so much. I truly cannot describe how well done Amanda Foody made this world. It feels whole and complete, and like I said, I felt like she wrapped up this story as good as could be done. It was so good, and I just dislike that the story had to end here. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by leaving a like down below. If you want to keep up with me and all of my bookish adventures, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button, and you should definitely, probably, maybe ring the little bell so that you don't miss a beat. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!